Remember, I was calling all these people on the phone and telling them this terrible story, how I'd been fired.
And then Bernie called Ken Langone.
It was one of the happiest days of my life. My immediate reaction was that, Bernie, you just got hit in the ass with a golden horseshoe, and you don't know it.
So I thought the man was demented. I thought there was something wrong with him.
And he said, what are you talking about? I'm saying, let's go into business. Let's start a company. And he was, I'm out of a job. Are you nuts? I've got no money, and you want to start a company?
Langone was referring to an idea Bernie had barely hinted at some time before.
And he said, tell me about it. And I said, no, I'm not telling you about it because then you'll know about it. I said, the only person that knows about it is in here, and I'm not going to share it with you.
He was that paranoid about it.
The idea, Bernie claimed, would make every home improvement company obsolete, including Handy Dan.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but let's do it. Because if it's that good and it's that dangerous, let it be ours.
Around this time, a friend told Bernie to go check out Homeco, a giant building materials store run by a guy named Pat Farah.
We came over and took a look at it and walked in, and he goes, this is it. This is what we need to do.
That's because Homeco was Bernie's dangerous idea come to life.
Cheap prices, great service. Our associates wore T-shirts and shorts and running shoes. And got to help them if I didn't see them running to the next customer, from customer to customer to customer.
Pat's the greatest merchant I've ever worked with in my life. I mean, he was a genius.
And early on, we said we had to get this guy. Fortunately for us, he went broke in that business, and he was available.
Bernie and Arthur and Ken came along and literally changed my life.
And the new company they were about to form would change an industry. They had the name nailed down. Now it was time to find out if their vision would measure up.
Pouring in by trains and trucks, tons of new merchandise for the spectacular grand opening of Atlanta's first do-it-yourself warehouses, the Home Depot.
14 months after being shown the door at Handy Dan, Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank were getting ready to throw open their own doors. Nobody knew it yet, but June 22nd, 1979 would be a red-letter day, or maybe orange-letter day, in a national shift towards self-reliance for millions of homeowners.
The do-it-yourself economy was just forming, was just beginning, and these guys just tapped into a nascent trend.
Nobody was equipped to do it. Number one, they didn't know how. Number two, the product wasn't available to them. It was controlled by the plumber, the electrician.
Depot was telling people, yes, you can build an extension onto your home. Yes, you can build a deck. Yes, you could put in new flooring.
But in the spring of '79, Bernie and Arthur were a long way from feeling like trendsetters. With Pat Farah, their merchandising wizard, they all moved to Atlanta, and now we're just trying to stay afloat until opening day.
We all moved here. We knew nobody. And we had no family, no support group. All we had was each other.
First order of business, making sure their brand new store had the right look and feel.
Let's make it bigger. Let's make it more attractive. Let's make it a place, a destination.
They walk into the store, you're overwhelmed with product, overwhelmed with low prices, overwhelmed with great service, overwhelmed with everything.
But that only worked if they could actually pay for the merchandise.
We didn't have much money in the bank. We had great difficulty buying product because most of the people didn't want to sell us. The balance sheet was slim, to say the least.
The image wasn't right, so we figured, well, how do we fill it up?
Farah's answer, fake it for now.
I contacted one of our suppliers and said, how many empty boxes do you have? They provided us about 3,000 boxes, just empty boxes. And we put them all together, put them up in the overheads to make it look like we were just so jam-packed that it was just unbelievable.
We had a stack of, 2,000 paint cans stacked up way up high in the ceiling. Out of the 2,000, I think maybe 300 would fill of paint. The rest were all empty.
But we had to give the cans back, ultimately.
The store was just about ready. The shelves were full, sort of. And back then, there was enough unpainted furniture to furnish Georgia. Outside, the big, bright, blaze orange sign was hard to miss if you happened to be in the neighborhood. But what about reaching the rest of Atlanta? The grand opening was scheduled for Friday morning. For that Thursday, Bernie placed a full 2-page ad in the Journal-Constitution.
They didn't run it. The newspaper never ran it. It was like the worst thing that could have happened to you. Here you put all your money in, and the clock is ticking, and the money is going out, and you're paying people.
The day we opened up, we expected to see thousands of people. I mean, we were convinced that we were going to win the Super Bowl.
Our promotion was, come to the store, we'll give you the first $1. And we're handing out dollar bills.
And we threw this great party, and, you know, nobody came. I mean, we just couldn't figure it out.
7 o'clock that night, we were still handing out the original dollar bills. Nobody had come. We were all broke, not just myself. Arthur was broke, Pat was broke. We were all living on the edge, and this was the most important day of our life.
We generated a fever, and we attracted people that were entrepreneurial. And when it's all said and done, these people didn't want to go home.
People who will spend 25 to 30 minutes explaining a $3 sale. Now, where do you find that?
It was really an awesome experience to have that customer come back to me and say, look, your help made me build this, and they brought pictures. It was incredible.
It was so cult-like, so family-like. It was a unique experience, and you craved it.
Come on down to the Home Depot. Shower water is not hot. Hey, come on.
The fire had been lit. The first stores were up and running, but success was hardly instantaneous. In its first year, Home Depot lost nearly $1 million. This wasn't a company that was scaring anyone, yet.
Home Depot is probably the best example of the term category killer.
A highly fragmented industry that was ripe for consolidation.
Well, there was an evolution, and we were the evolution.
Came in and took Heckinger's apart. We took Home Quarters apart. We took Builders Square apart. Basically demolished all of them.
No question, Home Depot helped to kill off a long list of competitors, and in the process, it reinvented the category.
Home Depot, in its first 20 years, grew faster than any other retailer in history, including Walmart. And what enabled them to do that is they tapped into a fairly untapped market.
I'm pleased to take off this apron and add this one.
Inside the company, it was all about buying into the orange culture, which meant lots and lots of training. Training for giving good customer service.
Sir, hey, listen, could you help me out here? I'm looking all over the place for this bulb. I don't know where to start. I know you know.
And training about the products.
You guys can sort of think of us as the Bartles and James of incandescent lighting.
You know, we're all here celebrating.
In 1986, sales topped $1 billion.
We've got $1 billion baby in our Home Depot stores.
The company was really starting to take off. Those who bled orange could definitely work their way up the ladder. Tom Taylor started out as a lot boy.
I got promoted to store manager at the age of 22. I went to the North Carolina market as a district manager. I became a regional vice president in Dallas, Texas. I have 120,000 associates that report into my division. So I have the entire Eastern Coast. I'm 37.
The more stores it opened, the more states it entered, the more Home Depot ran into resistance from people who called it the Orange Plague or Agent Orange. Towns and organizations fought the spread of commercial sprawl and the threat Home Depot posed to smaller local companies. Bernie Marcus will have none of it.
The well-run, competent, small mom and pop store is going to survive if they know what they're doing, if they know how to take care of their customers, if they find the niche that they can sell to. The ones that we put out of business were incompetent. They were the weak ones that had to go. And in retailing, that's the way it goes.
Good job, man. Good job. Good seeing you.
Proud of its achievements, caught up in its own drive for dominance, Home Depot didn't notice that some major challenges were closing in fast. In 1996, the Home Depot was 17 years old, with more than 500 stores to its name, and feeling like the coolest and toughest kid in high school. Year after year, Fortune named it one of America's most admired retailers, and its competitors knew they had finally met the 800-pound gorilla.